Anyone who lives in an area with severe weather knows how critical it is to stay as up to date as possible on what the situation is. Well, in Wisconsin, state Republicans hijacked the SMS text emergency alert system during an actual severe weather event to alert voters not to vote for a specific Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate. The alert looked like a severe weather alert would normally look on a television: colorful lines, white text, and black boxes. With severe weather across most of the state, many residents were keeping an eye on their phones for updates when they received a text with a title card and a video. They soon realized that instead of a severe weather update, they were receiving a political ad. At the time, people in the southern part of the state were under tornado watches and warnings, while people in the northern part of the state were dealing with a blizzard. For those of you who are unfamiliar with tornadoes specifically, they don't give you a whole lot of heads up before they hit. They usually only give you a very small window of time in which you can react. A tornado watch means that current weather conditions are conducive for tornadoes to form. Tornado watches can last for several hours. A tornado warning, however, means that one has already been spotted in your area, and those typically last for less than an hour. If your tornado watch turns into a warning, it's very important that as many people as possible in that area receive that information. Now, attorneys for Wisconsin Democrats are asking the FCC to investigate the ads, pointing out that simulating severe weather alerts, as the ads apparently did, is unlawful. The complaint reads, quote, "Emergency alerts are intended to ensure that those in the storm's path can stay safe, not to generate attention for political attack advertisement. Misuse of the alert signal while millions of people were wondering whether they need to seek shelter to protect their lives is not only highly irresponsible, but illegal." Republicans were attempting, through these highly questionable means, to sway the Wisconsin State Supreme Court justice race, which has been reported to be the most expensive judicial race in history. The alert told people not to vote for the more liberal candidate, then Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Janet Protasiewicz. She has since gone on to win that election, flipping the majority control from conservative to liberal. This has been hailed as a victory for abortion rights, and it's expected to have a positive impact on legislative voting maps that had previously been gerrymandered by Republicans. And she won the race by 11 points, a significant margin despite Republican advertising efforts. Now, part of the reason for this probably had something to do with what went on in Wisconsin following the 2020 presidential election. The Wisconsin Supreme Court was the only state Supreme Court that agreed to hear Trump's election challenge. To refresh your memory, Trump wanted to throw out 200,000 votes from Wisconsin's two largest Dem counties. But fortunately, the conservative leading court voted against this 4-3, with one conservative judge siding against Trump. In the lead up to the 2024 election, with potentially another Trump nomination, election integrity is top of mind for Wisconsin residents, especially Wisconsin Democrats, who nearly saw their votes invalidated. Additionally, the court has made life difficult for the state's Democratic governor, Tony Evers, limiting his line item veto authority and allowing a conservative appointee from the previous Republican governor to remain in office after their term had expired. The political ads cosplaying as distress alerts will hopefully be penalized following an investigation by the FCC. The ads ran during a storm that killed over 30 people across the Midwest and South, including one in nearby Illinois, just across the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. On this, the executive director of the Wisconsin Democratic Party said, quote, "For the Republican Party of Wisconsin to send this fake emergency alert on behalf of Dan Kelly at a time when many Wisconsinites are under the first tornado watch of the season is abhorrent, dangerous, and profoundly irresponsible." And it is all of that. It's abhorrent, dangerous, and profoundly irresponsible, but it's also not particularly surprising. Republicans have a history of pushing boundaries when it comes to election rules and practices. Here in Texas, for example, Ted Cruz recently broke a campaign law intentionally so that he could contest the law in court. He won his case, and now he can spend way more money on his next political campaign than he would have previously been allowed to. Needless to say, I'm really not looking forward to Ted's next senatorial campaign because it's going to be really annoying.
That in a circumstance like this, I would be able to concede to a worthy opponent. But I do not have a worthy opponent to which I can concede.
But in my former life, I worked in marketing. The thing about marketing and advertising is that an ad is only as good as the people who see it. It's all about getting in front of as many of the right people as possible. We're familiar with this as consumers. We're bombarded with targeted ads all day long on our phones and screens. But as we're seeing here, there's obviously a limit to this. You can't hijack public service announcements, especially not during publicly relevant events. I would say that suffering a penalty for this type of action would deter people from trying something like this in the future, but it's already an unlawful activity. They just chose not to respect the law, which is ironic as the election they were promoting was for a court justice. If anything, perhaps the people who are considering voting for Republicans would see these actions as abhorrent, dangerous, and profoundly irresponsible. Perhaps that would deter them from voting for a party that engages in such behavior. Or not. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like and subscribe, and be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks.